In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern. We do still have Tropical Storm Debbie out there that will, of course, be a part of this discussion. This is going to bring widespread flooding, really major flooding from Florida all the way up through Maine to the entire eastern seaboard, as we've discussed. Outside of Debbie, there is also quite a bit of activity just kind of ongoing throughout the east, so we are going to see a very active week there. Do be ready for a cool down that is on the way. We'll be diving into the temperatures quite a bit today, as we do expect a big time dip in those temperatures to give us a little bit of a fall time sneak peek. We're already at that time of year where we basically need to be discussing these things. Very exciting times ahead for sure. Anyway, let's just dive into things, and as we take a look here, we do see Tropical Storm Debbie throughout the southeast still present. I want to just take us towards this kind of later afternoon, and we can see that Debbie is going to be pulling offshore here a little bit. This is kind of the time that we're expecting this to occur. Of course, we do expect Debbie to kind of return here through the southeast, so it is going to be offshore for just a moment almost, and then just move back in. Keep in mind that this storm is moving extremely slowly, so although this is a small space to cover, it is going to take quite a while compared to what you would normally expect to see. Also happening this afternoon and evening is going to be some showers throughout the Rockies. There, potentially a crackle of thunder or two. We do still have some thunderstorms present throughout the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. We did have quite a bit of tornadic activity from this yesterday, so keep that in mind. As we just continue onward here towards Wednesday, August 7th, we see that this storm is still offshore, so again, moving extremely slowly, looking at almost 24 hours from now, and it is still offshore there of South Carolina, continuing to bring heavy precipitation there from Florida up through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic region in general, seeing quite a bit of heavy precipitation from this system. As we keep going towards Thursday, August 8th, we see this storm finally has returned inland here, bringing heavier precipitation with it further and further inland here. We're now looking at the western regions of North Carolina, Western Virginia, and southwest Virginia, southern West Virginia there, looking at some pretty heavy precipitation from this one. A little bit more than we were originally anticipating, so keep that in mind. We do have storms present throughout the northern plains and upper Midwest, really wreaking havoc out there, as we have seen days and days of showers and thunderstorms. So definitely a highly active time frame here for these areas. As we keep going, I want to take us from Thursday to Friday. And as you can see, well, overnight, I want to kind of preface this. This is when we're seeing the really heavy precipitation Thursday into Friday here for portions of Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina there. That will spread further and further northward, so let's keep watching this, as that heavier area by Friday afternoon is going to be located over areas of Pennsylvania. So again, the low pressure system here is only 1,000 millibar, not the strongest storm in the world, but the impacts definitely do not reflect that. We see heavy rainfall continuing, and we will see pretty catastrophic flooding throughout multiple states here. This is going to be a very interesting pattern. We are continuing to see a jet stream pattern, something like this. So we see this cooler air mass coming in, just like that. Warmer air kind of still spreading up the eastern seaboard, and we still have a ridge out west here. So we are seeing this type of an air mass, and this is why we see a lot of storms riding down the Rockies here along that jet stream. And we see this storm kind of obeying the laws of this jet stream as it's just continuing to ride along it. We do have some lower pressure here within the trough that is bringing some broad storms here, but definitely nothing compared to the remnants of Debbie here by this point, as we continue to see heavy precipitation up and down that eastern seaboard area. Saturday afternoon here, August 10th, we are seeing this continued area of thunderstorms for the Rockies, continued area of thunderstorms here for the southeast, and continued showers and thunderstorms here near the Great Lakes in the northeast, as well as portions of Canada there. Very active pattern. Things do quiet down though here by Sunday for the most part, as Debbie moves up into Canada. We continue to see showers and thunderstorms there. The Rockies and plains here continuing to see activity, really not catching a break out there. And then the southeast seeing their typical summertime thunderstorms here. Nothing really out of the ordinary by this point though. Monday the 12th, we continue to see some pockets of thunderstorms throughout the Rockies and plains. I almost said Rockies and showers. They are seeing showers. The northeast and southeast of Canada there, northeast of the United States, southeast of Canada, I should say, and then the deeper south into the southeast, continuing to see some thunderstorm activity. Tuesday here on August 13th, we see a couple of sporadic thunderstorms around. If you're in any of these green areas, there is some showers and thunderstorms. Very typical of the summertime for there to be a chance of thunderstorms, but not a likelihood, if that makes sense. So we're seeing that type of a pattern really take hold. Wednesday here on August 14th, it does kind of begin to focus on the east, I would say, where we have pockets mostly here in the eastern states. Still nothing too widespread. Thursday the 15th is when things get a little bit more active. We see this kind of stretching pocket here all the way from kind of the northern plains through the central plains and lower Midwest, and then through some of the deeper south and southeast there. We also see a low over eastern Canada, and this is bringing some thunderstorms to eastern Canada, but not only that, the northeastern United States. We also have a tropical cyclone here to the northeast of the Bahamas. Keep that in mind. We do see a tropical cyclone pop up here, and it does look to develop quite nicely here. The thing is that it's well offshore here. We are looking at very far distance from the east coast of the system. So if things stay this way, this should be an out-to-sea storm. Although a lot can change, as we saw with Debbie, where these storm projections can move hundreds of miles over the course of just a few days, let alone 10 here, which is what we're looking at now. So keep that in mind. As we just look at the overall tropics, I want to take a look here. We do see a lot of activity in your main development region here throughout the Caribbean, Central Atlantic, and then through areas of Western Africa there. As we keep going, we see a lot of this wants to take off. Not only this area here in the southern Gulf of Mexico and southern Caribbean, where we're watching for a chance of development here. So we see that, but we're also going to get a wave that moves out to sea, just like that European model showed. So let's watch it. We get that system right there, right around the 15th. So both the European and the European AI models agree on that. And then what we get is a very strong wave moving off of Africa here. This looks like a very promising one around the midpoint of August. So activity should be on the upswing. Not only do we get this very strong looking area of concern, we also get a second one right behind it, and even a third there located over Western Africa that looks to also move offshore. So very active tropical pattern coming up as we reach the midpoint to late point of August. Definitely something to be looking out for and paying attention to. For the total precipitation throughout the United States, again, the Rockies and Plains here getting really battered with storms. They get an above average amount, a pretty far above average amount, if I should say, for a lot of these areas. And then also the eastern seaboard here, obviously getting a gargantuan amount of rainfall, even up towards Canada, where we're seeing widespread reds, which is 2 to 5 inches, and then the browns throughout a lot of these areas is going to be 5 to 10 inches still to come for a lot of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and even surrounding mid-Atlantic and Northeast states. So definitely a really catastrophic flooding event is underway, about halfway done for a lot of these areas, where they should come in with a lot of totals nearing 20 plus inches. Absolutely insane stuff there, guys. As we take a look here at the precipitation anomalies, it really reflects what I just mentioned. I mean, we have the above average amounts here for a lot of the Rockies, the plains here, and then gargantuan amounts here along the eastern seaboard, where we're seeing upwards of 10 inches above average for the next 15 days, somewhere in there for Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina. As we just take a look here at the temperature anomalies, again, we are looking quite warm for a lot of areas throughout the east, also for a lot of the west. But look at this, we have a very strong Arctic air mass that wants to move in, one of the earliest Arctic blasts here of this kind of upcoming cool season, as we've kind of reached the peak of summer and we've passed it now, so we're reaching this kind of cooler season. We do see it move through. It's going to blast down, look at that, into the eastern states, and then we get a follow-up blast, a lot stronger here by the 9th, so in a few days. This is bringing 10 to 15 degrees below normal in the greens, and then 15 to 25 degrees below normal there in those kind of purplish blues over some of the Rockies and the northern plains here. Watch this move in. It's going to move straight into the central and eastern states here, and it wants to really hang around. This is the 12th of August. We have this positive PNA, which stands for Pacific North American Oscillation. The warmer temperatures here along the west cause the cold to have to dive into the east, and that's what we see here. We could see a lot of this upcoming fall and winter. And look at how the cold just hangs on. I mean, we're seeing cold at least along the eastern seaboard all the way through the end of the model run on the 21st. What's interesting is we do get a little bit of some signs of a negative PNA, the opposite here, which would encourage warmth, especially for the central states here in this case, because it's such a west-based PNA. It's just that west coast hardly. So we get a further west warm up than typical. So that's why the east coast still ends up with some cooler air here. Could be an interesting pattern if we do see this. A little bit of a rarer occurrence for sure. Now, as we take a look at the remaining cone forecast for Tropical Storm Debbie, it is expected to remain a tropical storm until it reaches central North Carolina all the way on Friday morning. So that's how long we have. Later this week, it's going to be moved very, very slightly. And then it's going to just race up the East Coast after that point as a post-tropical cyclone. From Friday to Saturday, it's basically covered more space than it covers from now Tuesday to Thursday or to Friday. So we're seeing a massive uptick in the speed of this storm. And then from Saturday to Sunday, it's going from kind of like the Philly area all the way up to central Maine. So racing up the East Coast, really turning things around quickly there, should bring impacts all the way up the eastern seaboard, as we've mentioned. Here's the remaining 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. Better yet, we still see Tropical Storm Debbie, of course. We do have one area of potential concern, and this is going to be an area for the southern Caribbean, southern Gulf of Mexico. We do have a 10% chance of development over the next 48 hours, but a 30 over the next 7 days. Remains a pretty low chance, but it is a chance nevertheless. We could see something come of it, or we could not. That's one of these systems, and especially being near land over the southern Caribbean, that's usually not a good sign for development, but we will see what ends up happening. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.